together, and it is so simple. I have overlocked the sides all the way down simply because my fabric is fairly heavy and I didn't want it to be too thick. So you overlock down the side, you overlock the edge of the facing, and then you simply put the sides on top of each other. You can't really go wrong, and you put a pin on the underarm, you put a pin in the beginning and the end, and off you go to the sewing machine ready to sew it together. So here I'm pinning it so you can see how that's done, but it is so simple. I have to say the first on it. The reason I am letting a lot of my overlocking thread hanging is so that I can pull it out towards the back. Very often when you just cut it off, it unravels at the end, and then you've got this unravelled, non-overlocked part there, which is not what you want. So I am going to leave that until I've cut them off then. So I'm going to do the other side as well now. And again, just make sure you've put a pin in the underarm, and especially for small sizes, you don't need to pin any of this in my view. But anyway, just in case you've never done this before, I'm pinning it all for you. And then we're just going to sew this with a centimetre seam allowance. Again, if it's slightly bigger because you're just overlocking it, or you want to just make foot width seam allowance, that's also fine. It's all stretch fabric, so it doesn't make an awful lot of difference because, 1 centimetre more or less doesn't really count for that much in this material. So I've done it now. It's sewn. I can cut off the ends of my overlocking to keep it all really nice, neat and clean. And then we're going to iron those seams apart, and then I'm going to show you a trick. It's very cool. So get your ironing board out, and we're just going to pull it over. Lots of steam. I'm making a newborn, so it's a really small size so that you can see it better. Of course, I can't pull that all the way onto my ironing board, so I'm just going to fold it over here, over the edge, and then iron the seam apart. And with all things knit, whether you actually iron a crease in you don't want or not, it's not really relevant, because you can just iron it again and creases will straight come out. It's a wonderful fabric. And I get my fabrics mainly from Fabric Worm. It's all organic. And then we want to fold down the top here. There we go. And we want to make sure that our facings can't go anywhere. So I make sure it's really nice and flush and flat. You could cut it back if you wanted to. And now we're going to attach the seam allowances together so it can't go anywhere. So I grab my seam allowance just with the tips of my fingers and then pull out the other seam allowance, so it's the seam allowance which goes to the right, so away from you, and I just pin that. And what we're going to do is we're going to sew along this, and then it can't go anywhere quite naturally, just on the edge. It doesn't have to be pretty wonky as you like. And that way you have it all secured and nobody can even see it. So let's do that again on the other side. So I put it on top of each other, everything nice and flush. Pinch the seam allowance furthest away from you, from the facing and from your dungies. There you go. And now I'm going to just pin it. It's a really good trick to know. If you're working a lot with facings, this is excellent. They'll never ride up. Off to the sewing machine we go. As wonky as you like. And then if you like, you could also top stitch it like I've done here as blended in, but you don't have to. And that's basically it. We're almost done. So let's go on to the last part now, where we're going to do our turn-ups.